The Stop Drop Gaming F1 show is brought to you by Stop Drop Gaming's F1 2014 Sunday Night Leagues for Xbox 360 and soon F1 2015 on Xbox One. Visit stopdropgaming.com today to sign up.
Hello and welcome to the stopdropgaming.com F1 show. Tonight I am joined by Ollie.
Hello.
Bowfar.
Sup?
C Stealth EJ.
Hi guys.
And DRSAbuser Callum.
Good evening.
To make it complicated, we've got two Callums tonight. I'm hosting, and shall we go straight in with Rosberg versus Hamilton in the belated Austrian Grand Prix show. So, Callum, what's your opinion on the Rosberg-Hamilton duel that's starting to ignite now in this championship?
Well, I just think it's just been fortunate for Rosberg the last couple of races. I just think it's kind of gone downhill for Hamilton since Monaco.
Yeah, I mean, Rosberg, though, did have the measure of him, and this weekend, last weekend, has Monaco been a turning point, Ollie, in the championship?
Monaco, maybe. I think Hamilton's getting a little complacent, to be honest. He thinks he's faster than Nico Rosberg, and he's just he seems, I don't know, he wouldn't let him win, but he's just being a little complacent and thinks he can just turn up at the race every weekend. I got a message from Steve about this, who can't be with us tonight, but has sent us his opinions. And Steve says that apparently Hamilton was asked to be excused from testing this week. And he went to Monaco and he hung out with Pharrell Williams instead of doing testing.
Yeah, he was on the Graham Norton show the other day as well. Yeah,
and he was on TFI Friday, I think, as well, on their rerun. Maybe he's taken this whole thing from when Bernie said he's a good superstar, you know, he's good for the media. Maybe he's taken that a little too far.
Yeah, it does look like he's kind of become a little bit complacent. And do you think this could cost him in the championship, Bowfar?
I don't think he is complacent, actually, to rock the boat. I think, genuinely, Rosberg is striving to get better, and I think that he is. And having Hamilton as a teammate is only going to push him on to try and be faster.
Do you get the feeling as well that Lewis thinks that he's got the British Grand Prix in the bag already, namely because it's his home race?
I think so.
I don't think that you should expect to win a race, even if it is your home race. I mean, some sports, the crowd is your, like football, for example, they say the crowd is your 12th man, and it does really help. But in F1, when they're racing around the track at 200 miles an hour, they can't hear the crowd, they can't, they're not even concentrating on the crowd. I think that to think that just because it's his home Grand Prix he's going to win it is just not. It shouldn't be his thinking anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right. Missing the test is missing the 2-day test, one of which was completely rained off pretty much. Is that really going to make much difference in the coming races?
I think track time is key. I think the more track time you have, the faster you're going to get. You're going to learn the car better, know what the car does, know how to set it up better.
Yeah, just to add my point of view here, but I don't think it really matters for next weekend at Silverstone because the race around Austria testing. Austria is such a fast track, but they're going to go to Silverstone. And Silverstone is complete opposite to that. It's more of a technical track. So this is going to not say benefit, but they've spent best part of like 6-7 days practice at freaking Austria, but now that they're going to go to Silverstone, will they be lacking?
Yeah, it's a good point because they are two completely different tracks as well. Yeah, so if we move on from that and look at Alonso versus Raikkonen and the quite scary crash that we had, is Kimi Raikkonen has he had his day, EJ?
I think he has. Definitely. He's getting too old and he's losing his edge. Look at the times he's running. Vettel is almost every time faster than him. Plus the car jumped, and he had no time to respond. So I think he is losing his edge.
I think with Kimi, he doesn't really care. Like he just loves racing, whether it be in F1 or WRC or wherever he is. He doesn't care what championship he's racing. He just wants a job in some sort of racing. And if he's not fast enough in F1, then he'll go back to WRC.
If you were someone like Valtteri Bottas, Nico Hulkenberg, Romain Grosjean, would you be frustrated that you know, you got Kimi Räikkönen who's making like the mistake in Canada, the mistake in Austria. And, you know, he's got the backing sort of from Ferrari that he's going to keep that drive when you're possibly not making those mistakes, Bowfar.
If I was them, I wouldn't be frustrated. I think I would see it as a sign that there could be a place opening. And I think we've known that there's a place opening at Ferrari when Raikkonen is up out of contract. So I think drivers like Hülkenberg, Bottas will see it as an opportunity to show people that what they can do in a race. And I think it'll only egg them on to try and get a drive in a top team like Ferrari.
Yeah, I think you've just got to get the confidence. Like Hülkenberg's on a real high at the moment after winning Le Mans. If we look at McLaren Honda, though, they had a revised nose in Austria. They didn't get the running that they wanted until the testing days. Is it kind of worrying that 2016 could become a write-off, given how 2015 is going, Callum?
No, I don't think that's right. Right to presume that McLaren Honda, they've just had the problem because they have one car for the engine. Where you have a look at like Mercedes had 4, 5 cars this year, and Ferrari had another 2 or 3, and you had Renault 2. You can clearly see the difference. Mercedes have the edge with the engines, where Honda is lacking. But it's just down to the engine providers. It's not down to the cars and everything. You may alter the aeros and stuff to help try to benefit your cars, but I don't think it's down to that. I think with Honda being in for another year, I think their engine will be much better for next season than they were this season. So I reckon it'll be more competitive next year. Next year will probably be a better year.
But you could also look at Renault and say, if anything, they've gone backwards compared to where they were last year.
You can say they're going backwards, but Mercedes and Ferrari did make a step forward, so you can't say they go backwards.
Actually, I'm going with that point. I think they looked at a couple of track and stuff. I think it was Canada that they looked at. Renault engine-based cars were going 0.5 seconds slower than they were last year. Ferrari stayed about the same, and Mercedes were about 0.5 seconds quicker. And again, with McLaren Honda, despite the fact that Honda engines aren't the best in the world, they were still lapping around the same time that they were last
Yeah.
year.
Also, if we think about Honda and the engine problems that they've got, should the engines be equalised? Because the racing that we had before the turbo hybrid area, where the engines were all fairly equal, you know, it was great racing, and now you can kind of predict who's going to win the races. EJ, so should engines be equalised?
You can. There's a pros and cons. Pro is you got close racing. Con is you don't have the edge. You can't think of, are this cylinder better than this one, or this piston is better than this one. There is like I said, a positive and a negative side to it, and I think there's more negative sides than positive sides for standardizing the engine.
Yeah. Ollie, what do you think on engine equalization?
I'm kind of torn about that. I think yes, it does provide a level playing field for whole teams, but then again, I don't know. I just think it takes away somewhat from what F1 is about. Yeah, F1 is about being at the pinnacle, and that's not just the driver, that's the car, that's everything. And so if a team can get to the pinnacle with their own engine, then they've done their job. Whereas, you know, if it's all, you know, standardized and equal, then they don't have that chance to, you know, that team doesn't have the chance to push and to make gains.
But it could allow for aerodynamic flexibility, to put more emphasis on the aerodynamics.
But they do that as well. So, you know, it's all part of the package, I think.
If we move on from that and have a look at Nico Hülkenberg in what was a pretty good couple of weeks for him, he won Le Mans and then went and had a pretty good race in Austria. I think we could all say he deserves a better car. Is he making the right steps forward, Bowfar, to get into a top car at last in F1?
I think his talent is clear to see. And I think being at Force India can be a blessing and a curse for him, because he's been overlooked for other race seats because he wasn't in a car that could really mix it up there with the top of with the front runners. But it's also given him a platform to really show what he can do. So I'm not sure. I think doing things like Le Mans and winning in Le Mans is a really good way of showing that he has a real talent. He can be a world champion if he just gets the right package.
Yeah, but this also has a problem. He's too tall and he's too heavy. So most Formula One teams don't want to have him.
That's not really an issue now. Now the weight limit was raised at the end of last year.
That's still the issue, because he said it himself in an interview with Sports One, with the TV program that I watch. So,
Callum, should Nico Hülkenberg have to go to Le Mans to prove that he can win in F1?
Well, we know he has that quality. I mean, you look at, he's been in, okay, he has been in the best cars in the world. He's been with Force India and he's been with Sauber. You look at the performance that he's put into those cars. He's done essentially what Alonso did, trying to battle with world championships with a underpowered car. That's what Hülkenberg's doing with a mid-pace car. He's proven that he can finish near the podium in these weaker cars. Yes, he went to Le Mans and he proved that he can drive to his best of his abilities, but I think it's still evident that he's driving at the best of his abilities.
Could he move to WEC in the coming years?
yes.
Yeah, I see him there. A lot of F1 drivers go there after they finish their career, so I see him there in probably about 5 years' time.
It would be a shame though that most F1 drivers go to the sort of top and then go to WEC, don't they? It'd be a shame for him to sort of have an average career in F1. I'd like to see him in a good car, to be honest, at some point in his F1 career.
Yeah, but the top teams already have their drivers picked out, so I don't think he has the chance to move up in the world.
There's a seat of Ferrari potentially if Raikkonen.
Yeah, but he's too tall and he's too heavy, and they will go for Bottas if needed.
I think maybe moving to a series like IndyCar would really benefit him, because it's open wheel. The cars are much more equal in performance, and he could really show how quick he could be on par with other drivers. I think, yeah, IndyCar would be a great place. And IndyCar, actually, I've been watching it this season. It's got fantastic racing. It's so entertaining.
True, I've seen a couple of them, and indeed he will be right in place there.
And no, you look at IndyCar and you look how many F1 drivers have actually gone into IndyCar. And in recent years, I can only think of one, and that's Montoya. And he didn't exactly do as well as everyone was hoping he would from what he did in F1.
Yeah, but that's Montoya. That's not Hülkenberg.
Cliché.
You say that, but Montoya right now is leading the standings in IndyCar. You've also got Sebastian Bourdais, who started winning races. You got Takuma Sato, who started winning races as well. So there's plenty of pedigree there. A Formula One pedigree actually can make waves in IndyCar because of how it's set up.
Stephen on Nico Hülkenberg has said that confidence obviously carried over, and an ever-improving Force India and a Le Mans win is a reminder of how good he is, and a sharp reminder for teams looking for drivers next season. If Kimi does go, expect Bottas to join Ferrari and Hülkenberg to join back at Williams. Could we see Hülkenberg go back to Williams in the near future?
We can only hope.
It would be,
or even if Massa retires.
Is Massa going to retire next season though?
I'll see him not retiring this season, but next season he'll probably retire.
How old is he now?
He's getting to the point where he's just having that kind of like spell. He's getting close to the podium. He can finish on the podium, sure, but that's because he needs a track which has like high speeds and stuff like that, like Austria, which obviously he got on the podium there. But you look at him around, say like Monaco, he was awful around there, and it obviously depends on the car.
But the Williams itself wasn't very good around Monaco. McLaren Honda saw at the Austrian Grand Prix ended up with both cars having a grand total of 50 grid place penalties between them. That's 25 each. How stupid is the penalty system, AJ?
Crap, but there is a place for that. They have to do it because if then they can swap out engines and stuff like that. I think it's there for a reason, but I think it's stupid. 25 grid penalties, a 25 place grid penalty. How you have to finish first and still last. There's not even 25 cars on the grid.
Exactly. Even when HRT and Co were in F1, there was still only 24 cars on the grid. Callum, should they be fining the teams or taking constructors' points off the teams instead of almost ruining like the races for us and ruining the drivers' races?
I don't think that. No, it's kind of an awkward situation because you want to penalise someone, of course, but you penalise the team into trying to produce a reliable engine, but they can't do that unless the engine provides them a reliable engine. And again, it's the fact that Honda is their first year. Renault have gone backwards, and they've already used up their 4 engines this year. And I think 4 engines is too little because you look at what 2-3 years ago, they was allowed to use between 8 and 10 engines for a season, and they've halved it, obviously to make it more economically viable. But penalising people for engine failures and stuff is wrong, in my opinion, because it can't be. It's not down to either party, but an engine has failed.
So should you could say that you give the team constructors points, you give the driver maybe a 5-place grid penalty, but not give them something so substantial where qualifying is pointless. Ollie.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just a bit absurd now. The whole idea of these ridiculous grid penalties. I don't think the way to go is to dock points from the constructors, but it's hard to not to do it this way. I mean, there doesn't seem to be another way that's viable. Even though this way isn't very viable, I don't think that docking team points is another viable solution. I think they've picked the best of a bad bunch of solutions.
If you did dock constructors points, surely that would make McLaren and Red Bull really get onto Renault and Honda to keep them in the championship.
Well, yeah, I mean, what difference would it make to McLaren Honda, if they were docked 10 points because they were only going to lose 3? Are they going to go into minus points? I mean, how ridiculous would that get? You'd have McLaren Honda finish on minus 200 points.
Yeah, that is a very viable point. But do we want to see 25 place grid penalties? If you've got a ticket for qualifying, if I was Jenson Button, I was getting a 25 place grid penalty, I wouldn't be going out. I'd be conserving the engine to make sure I can last the race.
No, just the point that the point was that yes, they put penalty, but again, it was awkward because the way it was done is that where they qualifies, they got obviously pushed back, and then they got a time penalty in relation to it as well.
And a drive-through.
Yeah, there was that, and Jenson Button had a technically drive-through in a 10 second stop and go.
That is a bit too much. If you maybe either just the time penalty or just the grid penalty instead of having both, it puts them nearly a lap down before they've even started.
True. I think that's the most annoying part about what happened in Austria, was that their penalties were somehow topped up with a time penalty. And it's just ridiculous. I can see the point of maybe issuing a 25 place grid penalty to make sure that the cars that need to be heavily penalised are at the back of the grid, but then to top it up with another stop and go or something else like that, it's just a bit overkill, and it saps a lot of the fun out of racing for the drivers, the teams, and the spectators.
And it's not like the McLaren Honda's, the best car in the field. It's kind of at the back already. It's not like if it was the Mercedes, you'd expect the Mercedes to probably come through and get a couple of points at the end. But you're just confirming McLaren Honda to getting definitely no points in a weekend. If we move on to our final topic of debate, there's rumours going around that F1 is going to be bought by the owner of Miami Dolphins, I think it is. Could this be the end for Bernie Ecclestone, Ollie?
I read an article earlier in the week about, not earlier in the week, earlier today about about this. And Max Mosley has said that if F1 is bought out, Bernie will still be in place. And I think Bernie will keep going until he drops dead. I don't think he'll ever leave F1.
I have to agree with
Callum,
Ollie.
He's too much part of the furniture to be moved away.
He's a stain that you can't remove.
Callum, would it be good for F1 for it to be bought?
I don't, because I think it's a small proportion. I think it's still like 30%. When I say small amount, that's still quite a large proportion because it's still owned by Bernie Ecclestone, so he's still going to have like the overall control and stuff. So it wouldn't really matter. That's the point I think people make it. Like they said, Bernie Ecclestone won't leave until he drops dead. It's just how it works.
I think with all the talk at the moment of F1 needing to change in order to kind of keep up with the times, I think a new owner could actually be a catalyst for that. Having an outside view of the sport from America would help F1 change for the better to make it more engaging with the fans.
Is this guy that's reportedly buying the stake, is he the right person to buy out F1?
Yes,
EJ?
he is. Because I've looked into the person. Well, he's owns Miami Dolphins. He's trying to get the new football team, or soccer team, as they like to call it, set up out there in Miami. So he's trying to help increase popularity in sports and stuff. I think he may be the right person for F1.
Could the introduction of Has F1 have influenced his decision, EJ?
I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know.
Are Haas going to get anywhere next season, though? I mean, are they going to end up like another Caterham or Marisha and just stay at the back for the whole race and for the next, 2 or 3 years? Or are they actually going to make... Are they going to be a midfield team?
They're more of a serious team than like Caterham and Co. Not saying that they weren't serious teams, but that Haas in NASCAR, one of the best teams in NASCAR, if I'm not mistaken, and they'll have the Ferrari engine. So you'd kind of hope they were a new midfield team at least.
Yeah, but somebody always has to be at the back, so they don't have. I don't think they're missing the experience they have. Yeah, true, they have experience in other race classes, but Formula One is a whole different cake, whole different. Yeah, I don't know how you call it precisely, but it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, that is a good point, because if you look at the Formula E Championship, you've got the 3 championship contenders were Nelson Piquet Jr., Sebastian Buemi, and Lucas Di Grassi, and they never cut it in F1 at all.
And it depends on the drivers he's going to get. It's an entire package that has to count, and I think they're going to struggle the first couple of years, and then they will be strong mid-team.
Will they have the budget though?
They should have the budget on the basis of they're doing well in NASCAR and stuff. Obviously, it's down to drivers and stuff. They've already ruled out the fact that they're not going to be using Danica Patrick for next season. She'd be racing in is it IndyCar or something like that, or she switched to NASCAR or something. I don't know.
With some American racing.
Yeah, well, one of those. But like, they're already ruling out certain drivers that have abilities and stuff who are from outside F1. But you look, who will they go to in F1? Or like a F1 driver, who will they go to? Because I'm pretty sure some of these old drivers that used to be racing stuff don't want to join a team which is just starting and potentially ruin their reputation as such.
I heard a rumor that they were after Hulkenberg.
I think it will be good for Hulkenberg to move, but on the other side, he's driving a decent car now, and I don't know what Haas is doing. So give him a year, and I think there will be stronger drivers in there.
Haas, I think will be an unknown quantity until they hit the grid. I imagine the best bet would be to kind of split their driver strategy. So get someone who's experienced, and then get a nice young new driver. I imagine someone like Sam Bird might be interested in a drive with Haas. He's the test driver for Mercedes. He's been racing in Formula E. He could be a good driver for them.
I'd be very, very happy if Sam Bird got that drive.
There's Jody on Palmer as well. He's just won the GPT championship, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's
Or am I really
Lotus
late?
Reserve. Could Susie
Okay.
Wolf get that drive?
No.
I would like to see that, but no.
I'm
Hell no.
completely with. I mean, this is a completely different debate, but I'm completely with Bernie Eccleston on this point that women drivers are not as fast as male drivers.
Ollie?
And
Ollie.
without being too sexist, I'm with Bernie on this point.
No, I heavily disagree with that. She goes into F1 testing and she's clearly shown the fact that she has limited time in an F1 car, that she's no more than a second behind Massa. Yes, Massa's not the fastest driver in the world, or not the fastest driver in the world anymore, but bear in mind she has limited time inside an F1 car, and she's only a second behind Massa, and still faster than half or like 7 drivers on the grid. She has potential.
Yeah, but you don't know
I
which
think
strategy
she's got it.
But there's also a variable. You don't know if he's running a heavy fuel, low fuel, what tire compound. You don't know that. So you can see, yeah, he's second slower, but you don't know what's in the car and what tire they were running on.
And on that topic, I think it'll be time to end. Thank you very much for listening. Remember, if you want to be involved in the StopDropGaming.com F1 show, just make an account on StopDropGaming.com for Sunday night F1 2014 leagues on Xbox 360 and soon F1 2015 on Xbox One. So until next time, guys, we'll see you at the British Grand Prix. And it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from us.
Good night.
Bye.
See ya.
Anyone watch the Formula E this weekend?
Nope.
Yes, it was very good.
Wait.
Honestly, today's race was
Don't tell me
fantastic.
the last race. Don't tell me I haven't seen the last race.
Someone dies.